What's going on, guys? It's Mirwin. Today I'm going to show you how I made the beat for my song Dear Child. So if you guys haven't been watching the YouTube channel, we have a series Deconstructed inspired by Genius, where I show you guys how I made the beat for all the music I make. Today we're going to be doing my song Dear Child off of my new album Strangers in the Dark, which is out now. You guys should definitely go check that out. If you guys haven't listened to it, you can listen to this song right now before you watch the rest of the video. We got a link in the description. Definitely encourage you guys to check that out. If you guys haven't been watching the channel recently, you probably don't know, but for this album, I was really inspired by a lot of the hip-hop artists, kind of back on this wall here, that have really inspired me and I've looked up to, so I really wanted to make something kind of taking, what I've always loved about their music and doing my thing with it. So all that being said, all of the songs on this album are made using samples from TRYIN, which is a website. Great resource. Definitely encourage you guys to check it out if you make music. Shout out TRYIN, get me that sponsorship. But so for this song, Dear Child, this is a song that really is honestly one of my favorite on the album. Probably top 3. We'll probably get more into my ranking of the album, as I do the dissects and stuff. But this is probably a top 3 song on the album for me. Just, this is a very personal song to me. This song, kind of get into a little bit. Dear Child, kind of is a lot about, growing up, growing up, as a child, becoming an adult, learning and relearning things, losing things, different things like that. Obviously we're all growing up together. So there are different things that, I think, we've lost as we've grown up that maybe we want to try and get back to, or, different habits, different things like that. So this song really, that kind of maybe not the greatest explanation there. I wasn't really planning on saying all that. But this song really is just a very personal song to me. It just kind of talks about a lot of what I've gone through and, just kind of both as a person, as an artist, different things like that. So definitely one of my favorites. So that being said, the first half of this song is very, very, very minimal. And I think, obviously that's intentional, this being a personal song. I want my words to really be a big focus of it. But so that being said, for the sample, this is really cool. I really, like I said, really love the song. The sample I think is really cool in that I was able to really manipulate it, and not in a bad way necessarily, but really change it. And I think still also honor the original song, but also do something very different from the original. So the original song is from, I believe it's a Hispanic Latin artist, Maria O. It's called Absurda. I'm probably saying that wrong. I apologize. But so as far as processing, we got EQ, and then I pitched it up 2 semitones. I liked how it originally sat in the key, but I thought just pitching it up was really cool. And, I thought her voice already sounded good, but like I say, I think it helped. It just, I really liked how it sounded. Sometimes, that's all you gotta do. And then the other thing that I think was really cool is I EQ'd it again. We brought out some of the highs from pitching it up, and then I added some reverb on it. So I added some really big reverb on it, and I think altogether, it doesn't seem like it's a lot of changes. You just pitched it up, and you add reverb. That doesn't seem like a lot. But then when you go and you play the original, it's like, wow, this is there's a significant change. The other thing I did there as well, you'll notice up here underneath my cursor, the original BPM was 152. So I brought it down to 80. I think doing the math correctly, I think, 160 is technically the same thing as 80, or, whatever. So technically it actually is maybe sped up a little bit. But so I also changed the BPM a little bit. So, technically 3 things. But altogether it just kind of creates, something that I think is still very similar, or, recognizable from the original, but, has its own take on it. So this sample, I really just kind of, again, it's very similar to 2 Words in that, I really just tried to let the musicality and the instrumentation of the original song shine through. I didn't really try to chop it too much or manipulate it. I just kind of really took the sections that I liked, and made them fit into some, enough space that I could do a verse on it. So I'll play you that. As you can see here, I have 2 different real sections that I pulled from the song. And then I also have this little, I think it was just in the middle of the song, like a bridge or like a breakdown before the hook. But I used it also as an outro before we go to the beat change in the second half, which is also really dope. So I'll play you guys the first half here.
Parecer tranquila, estar absurda, absurda. beijar estrelas, verdades absolutas, absurdas.
So that's basically it for the sample for the first half. Like I say, as a song, production-wise, the first half is super minimal. It's really my voice and then the sample. Like it's 2 tracks. The thing something just talking about this sample that I really like is the voice. Her voice is obviously great. The like Spanish guitar is super fire. The other thing that I think really helps cement this as like, okay, this is the direction for this song, is the strings. There's some crazy strings on this sample that I think really helped bring the emotion out and really helped tie with what the content of what I'm talking about really well. Just made it more emotional and also like feel a little cinematic. So right before I cut it off, the strings come in. I think that was really helped kind of cement this as like, okay, this is what we need to do for this song. And then I didn't really try to do too much with it. I think I maybe tried to do drums, but I think this is something that I kind of knew. Hey, this just needs to be middle. It just needs to be me. I just need to get the bars off. And that was basically it. So that was it for the first section here. Now we're going to move to the second half where we got the beat switch. Again, another beat that I really love. Like I said, this is a favorite song off the album for me. But I really like this section as well. Also, this is one of my favorite verses in the entire album. I think I really love my verse in this one here. This last verse here. I love the first verse as well. This one, I got some lines I really like. So we'll get with the sample here. So this sample is from Willie Scott and the Birmingham Spirituals. So this is really cool because this is actually a newer song. Actually, both of these are newer. I believe the first song was like 2018, 2019, and this one I think is similar. I think it's like 2020 maybe, or relatively new, probably the last 5 years. But something that I thought was really cool about this song, I was digging through TrackLib after work, as I do a lot of times, so that it's fun, but it's also somewhat productive for me. So I'm digging through TrackLib, and I found this song. I was playing it. I was like, hey, this sounds like super familiar. And then I found the section in the song. I was like, this is from a Brockhampton song. So I'm wearing Brockhampton merch right now. Brockhampton is one of my favorite rap groups. Their album Roadrunner is one of my favorite hip hop albums of all time. So this is a sample that they used as an outro for one of the songs on that album, and I thought it was really cool to be able to sample the same song that they did. An group of artists that I look up to and really, enjoy listening to. Thought it was really cool to do something with a sample that they used, and also do something different with it. So that being said, I knew what they had done with the sample. I believe they pitched it up, and maybe sped it up a little bit. So I knew I didn't want to do that. I wanted to do something different than what they did. So what I ended up doing was I did EQ, and then I pitch shifted it down 2 semitones, and I also threw halftime on it. So halftime, kind of changes like how the time. So it basically just like slows the sample down. I kind of went the opposite direction as the way they sampled it. And I really like how it sounds. I think it fits really cohesively with the first sample. But also, it's got a cool feeling. Kind of feels almost like some DJ Screw a little bit or something. It's kind of slowed down, vibey, maybe a little like Kid Cudi-ish almost. So I'll play you guys this sample and then we'll get into the drums. So yeah, I really like, one thing I liked with my processing, I loved how the vocals sounded through halftime, just kind of that slowed down. And then I really liked how the keys sounded too. You got kind of that slow, drawn out keys, the dum, dum, just kind of like, got that grit to it. I thought that was really cool. We'll get into the drums then here, and then that's basically a wrap for this one. Something before we get into the drums, again, I think I didn't do bass on this song. I ended up just doing the drums on the second half. I think I may be slightly entertained doing bass on the second half, but I felt again that, based on what I'm talking about with the song, I really wanted my vocals to shine through, and I really wanted that to be a focus, and I thought maybe having the 808 in there would be, I don't know, just maybe not the right vibe. So I knew I wanted the second half to hit hard, and I think the drums did that, but also, it wasn't too, I think an 808 might have been a little too distracting, taken away from what I'm saying. So getting into the drums here, we'll start with this loop here. We got a shaker loop. We'll play you guys that here. So, I like percussion a lot in my music. Something I think this loop was really nice, just add a little bounce, add a little bit of that, the little extra on it. And then we'll play you guys, this is one of my favorite parts of the drums here. We got these two claps. They really don't maybe sound like claps to me too much. They kind of maybe almost sound a little more like a snare, but but really love how they sounded. I actually liked how they sounded so much dry that I didn't do any processing on it, so no EQ or anything, which, normally I do something a little bit just to, mixing wise, and so, I can get a little feel for it. But I loved how they sounded dry, so I just left it. I'll play you guys the snare. So yeah, love how that sounded. Got a really cool, like I say, it's not really a clap, but it's not really a snare to me either. It's got kind of a little middle ground, which is cool. And then I really love this pattern as well, where, obviously the first two like measures or whatever, just, straight. But then I really like how in the second two, I like kind of get a little more groove going with the offbeat hits and stuff and the rolls. I really like that, and I think just really helps, keep the energy going in the second half, and, keep the punch going. Something else, we'll do the hi-hat here. So it looks like, in the MIDI, I have one little roll here. Otherwise, we just messed with the velocity. Otherwise, that's about it. So yeah, I like this hi-hat sound a lot. Again, just super grimy, really dirty. It feels kind of like a drum kit again. So I really like how that sounded. We got these little hat accents here. We'll play you guys those. So we got, that first one where it's more like a hi-hat roll, and the second one we got the open hat. Again, just I always like putting little ear candy, little moments in there, just to keep it interesting. So I think, especially saying that first two sections of the drums, snare is just straight, on beat, doesn't have any other accent hits going. Really important, I think, to have those like hi-hat rolls and open hat in there just to keep it interesting and keep movement going. And then we got this rim here. I'll play you guys this rim. We just got some echo on it, nothing too crazy. So something a little more subtle. But as I was doing the drums, I just felt like it needed something extra, and that ended up being it. So it really sits pretty far back in the mix. This whole album has been mixed by my boy Shane Lance. Shout out Shane, kills it for me every time. Make sure to show him some love if you guys got a moment. But sits a little further back in the mix, but again, just something extra in there. Keep it going. And then we got this kick here. So this is the Saint 6 distorted kick. I think the reason I chose this kick was just because it hit really hard. So this is like a really like heavily like, kick. Really hits really hard, which like I had mentioned, I wanted this second half to really hit. And I think having that style of kick in here really helped do that. Without, it being too distracting. Also looking at the MIDI, I went really minimal on the kick placement. There's not really there's not like a lot of triple hits or any like crazy like, whatever. It's pretty just, kind of slow, methodical, but I think it works really well. So we'll play you guys the kick. And then we'll play you guys this whole second section all together here. Alright, that is basically it for this one, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys haven't listened to this song or my album, Strangers in the Dark, we have a link in the description. Definitely encourage you guys to check that out. It means a lot to me if you listen to it. I appreciate anyone who listens to my music. That is basically it for this episode, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.